and the Ark of the Covenant was not there. This profound, unsettling silence in the most sacred texts marks the disappearance of what was once the very heart of ancient Israel. An object imbued with divine power, the earthly throne of God, the ultimate symbol of a covenant, it simply vanishes. No clear explanation, no meticulous record of its fate amidst the detailed accounts of wars and temple destruction. This textual void is a paradox, leaving generations to grapple with an enigma that scholarship suggests holds deeper truths. So, if the canonical texts leave us with such a profound silence, what did truly become of this potent artifact after its last clear mention within the sacred walls of Jerusalem? Our investigation is not one of faith, but a meticulous historical and textual inquiry aiming to unravel this enduring mystery. We will critically examine the leading theories, from its potential capture by invaders to its rumored secret removal by Levite priests, all rigorously grounded in academic scholarship and archaeological silences. To begin our journey, however, we must first lay the groundwork by exploring the Orthodox position and the traditional understanding of the Ark. Traditionally, the Ark of the Covenant functioned as more than just a sacred vessel. It was understood to be the very dwelling place of the divine presence on earth. Housing the tablets of the Ten Commandments, it served as the physical nexus of the covenant between God and Israel, a potent symbol of national identity and spiritual authority. Its immense significance meant that for generations, the common assumption regarding its disappearance has gravitated towards a few distinct possibilities. Either it was supernaturally removed, meticulously concealed by loyal Levite priests, or perhaps most mundanely, seized as a prize of war by a conquering power. Yet, to fully appreciate the context of these theories, we must first immerse ourselves in the tumultuous era leading up to Judah's obliteration. To grasp the true dimensions of this enigma, we must transport ourselves to the late 7th and early 6th centuries BCE. Judah, a small kingdom nestled precariously between powerful empires, found itself on the precipice of annihilation. The formidable Neo-Babylonian Empire, under the ruthless leadership of Nebuchadnezzar II, was sweeping through the ancient Near East, systematically dismantling kingdoms and carrying off their treasures. Jerusalem, with its magnificent temple built by Solomon, stood as a defiant yet vulnerable symbol of Judah's sovereignty. The inevitable climax arrived in 586 BCE. After a brutal siege, Nebuchadnezzar's forces breached the city walls, plundered, and then utterly destroyed the temple, razing it to the ground. This catastrophic event marks the last undisputed historical moment when the Ark of the Covenant could have been present within its sacred chambers. And it is here, amidst the ashes of Jerusalem, that our first genuine historical enigma emerges. Conventional wisdom would dictate that an artifact of such unparalleled significance, the very Ark of the Covenant, would be meticulously documented among the spoils of war. Yet, when we examine the detailed accounts of Nebuchadnezzar's plunder, a striking and unsettling omission becomes apparent. Both 2 Kings 25:13 verses 17 and Jeremiah 52 verses 17-23 offer exhaustive lists of every sacred vessel, every bronze pillar, every precious item carried off from the temple. But the Ark? It is conspicuously absent. This silence, this profound lack of mention, is a critical historical anomaly that fundamentally disrupts our orthodox assumptions. The question then becomes, how could such a vital object simply disappear from the conqueror's ledger? This textual void, often termed the Great Silence by scholars, is far more than a mere oversight. Consider the meticulous detail with which these biblical passages record the temple's dismantling. We see mentions of the bronze pillars, the stands, the bronze sea, and all the utensils of bronze for the service, as written in 2 Kings 25. Every significant item, down to the small bowls, is accounted for. Yet the Ark, the most revered and powerful object in all of Israelite worship, is absent. This creates a profound contradiction. If Nebuchadnezzar's forces had seized it, why would the biblical chroniclers, so diligent in cataloging lesser treasures, neglect to mention the ultimate prize? This textual evidence compels us to ask, was its absence an accident of history or a deliberate omission for reasons we have yet to uncover? Scholarship points to this silence as a significant factor, challenging us to look beyond the surface of the biblical narrative. According to prominent biblical scholars like Richard Elliott Friedman, this profound silence is not a void, but a crucial piece of textual evidence in itself. Friedman, known for his source criticism, posits that the ark's absence from the Babylonian plunder lists strongly suggests it was not carried off as spoils of war. This leads to two primary compelling interpretations. Either the ark was meticulously hidden before the final invasion of Jerusalem in 586 BCE, perhaps by loyal Levite priests anticipating the catastrophe, or, more controversially, it was destroyed, possibly even intentionally, in a way that rendered it unworthy or impossible to be cataloged as loot. Understanding the provenance of these biblical accounts, who wrote them, when, and for what purpose, is paramount. These texts were not dispassionate news reports. They were shaped by theological and political concerns, which means omissions can be as telling as inclusions. This reinterpretation of the silence radically shifts our understanding of the ark's potential fate. If the ark was indeed absent from Nebuchadnezzar's plunder, then the traditional assumption that it was simply carried off to Babylon is fundamentally challenged. This profound implication shifts the stakes dramatically. It suggests an intentionality behind its disappearance, either a safeguarding of the holiest artifact by priests who foresaw the temple's destruction, or perhaps a deliberate omission from the historical records for complex theological or political reasons. Such a scenario transforms the mystery from a simple lost artifact into a deeper question of what was protected and why. If it was not stolen, could it have been hidden away in secrecy, awaiting a future revelation? But if so, the canonical texts offer us no further clues, paradoxically leading us to explore narratives often deemed outside the realm of official scripture. This, however, only deepens the mystery. If the ark's ultimate fate isn't recorded within the accepted scriptures, what other ancient voices dared to speak of its disappearance? Could the answer, therefore, lie in narratives often marginalized, in texts deemed apocryphal by some traditions? Indeed, for answers, the apocryphal book of 2 Maccabees offers one of the most compelling alternative accounts, specifically chapter 2, verses 4 through 8. Here, a distinctly different tradition is presented, not of destruction or capture, but of prophecy and meticulous concealment. This text claims that the prophet Jeremiah, foreseeing the Babylonian invasion, took the ark along with the tabernacle and the altar of incense and painstakingly hid them in a cave on Mount Nebo. Mount Nebo, famously the very place where Moses viewed the Promised Land before his death, holds immense geographical and theological significance within the biblical narrative, adding a layer of sacred resonance to this claim. The account even states Jeremiah sealed the entrance, proclaiming the ark would remain hidden until God gathers his people once more. This narrative, while outside the official canon for many traditions, offers a powerful, ancient counterstory to the textual silence, reinforcing the idea that the ark's disappearance was no accident. But why would such a specific and dramatic story of concealment be crafted? This narrative in 2 Maccabees, however, raises the question, was this a genuine historical memory meticulously passed down, or what scholars often term a pious fiction, crafted to address a profound theological vacuum? Scholarship suggests the latter. In the post-exilic period, with the temple rebuilt but the ark conspicuously absent, a story of its divine protection and eventual return offered immense comfort and hope. It preserved the ark's sanctity, preventing the humiliating thought of it being destroyed or desecrated by pagan invaders. This is a classic example of redaction at play, later scribes and editors shaping existing traditions or even inventing new ones to fulfill specific theological or communal needs. The ark's disappearance left an open wound, and this narrative provided a powerful, albeit perhaps idealized explanation. But while the Jeremiah narrative offers one compelling explanation, it is by no means the only or even the most widely accepted alternative. However, no discussion of the ark's ultimate fate is complete without addressing the most prominent and fiercely defended contemporary claim that the Ark of the Covenant resides today within the Church of Our Lady Mary of Zion in Aksum, Ethiopia. This deeply held belief, central to the Ethiopian Orthodox Tewahedo Church, is rooted in the ancient text known as the Kebra Nagast. It posits that Menelik I, son of King Solomon and the Queen of Sheba, secretly brought the ark from Jerusalem to Ethiopia, replacing it with a copy. For millions, this tradition represents an unbroken spiritual lineage, a foundational truth. While we must acknowledge the profound spiritual importance of this claim for its adherents, academic scholarship, however, remains unable to offer external verification. The ark, known as the Tabat in Ethiopia, has never been publicly examined. This enduring, unverified claim forces us to consider how such powerful yet competing narratives about sacred objects are shaped and ultimately canonized, a process far from straightforward. The very concept of a biblical canon, what we consider sacred scripture, is not a divinely delivered package, but the culmination of centuries of human deliberation and political maneuvering. The Ark's disappearance, with its competing narratives from 2nd Maccabees to the Kebra Nagast, presented a profound challenge to early religious authorities. How do you maintain the sanctity of a faith when its most potent symbol vanishes without canonical explanation? This required choices. Narratives that offered theological comfort or promoted certain understandings of divine presence were often elevated. Others, perhaps too inconvenient or contradictory, were de-emphasized or excluded from the emerging canon. This reveals the profound human agency involved in shaping the stories that would guide generations. The textual silence surrounding the Ark, then, becomes less about accidental omission and more about deliberate theological curation. As we now synthesize these disparate threads, we must ask, how do these varied, sometimes conflicting accounts, alongside the human process of canonization, ultimately redefine the mystery itself? So we've navigated the profound textual silence from the canonical books, the compelling narrative of Jeremiah's concealment found in 2nd Maccabees, and the tenacious Ethiopian tradition claiming its current physical presence. Each theory, while distinct, underscores a fundamental challenge. The Ark's disappearance isn't just a historical blank, it's a microcosm of the complexities inherent in biblical historicity and textual reliability. The canonical accounts remain silent, apocryphal works offer divine intervention, and living traditions hold fast to a physical object. This profound contradiction, however, paradoxically amplifies the Ark's enduring power, transforming it from a mere artifact into a symbol whose very absence speaks volumes about the narratives we choose to believe. But what if this very enigma, this stubborn refusal to yield a definitive answer, serves a deeper, perhaps even theological purpose? Indeed, this profound silence surrounding the Ark might not be a historical oversight, but a theological necessity. Consider this. What if the physical disappearance of the Ark of the Covenant was, paradoxically, crucial for the evolution of religious thought itself? Did its absence compel a shift from a literal, object-centric understanding of divine presence towards a more internalized, abstract spiritual connection? This thought experiment suggests the Ark's true power might not have resided in its tangible form, but in the potent idea it represented, an idea that could only truly flourish once the object itself was removed from the equation. This philosophical perspective recontextualizes the mystery entirely. With this broader context in mind, let's now consolidate the concrete findings. Our rigorous textual and historical investigation into the Ark of the Covenant's fate reveals a consistent core finding. There is no definitive canonical biblical account explaining its disappearance after 586 BCE. The meticulous plunder lists of Nebuchadnezzar II conspicuously omit it, a significant textual silence that scholarship suggests challenges the idea of its capture. Instead, we are left with compelling yet unverified theories. The apocryphal 2nd Maccabees posits a priestly concealment by Jeremiah on Mount Nebo, preserving its sanctity. However, the Ethiopian Orthodox Tewahedo Church maintains a steadfast tradition of its removal to Aksum by Menelik I, detailed in the Kebra Nagast. Crucially, for all these narratives, archaeological corroboration remains entirely absent. This persistent lack of tangible evidence leaves us with a central paradox that defies a simple resolution. So after centuries of scrutiny, textual analysis, and archaeological silence, the Ark of the Covenant remains precisely that, an enigma. Its physical whereabouts, its ultimate provenance, are lost to the sands of time. This profound, unanswerable question leaves a permanent, echoing void in our understanding of one of history's most potent religious artifacts. A relic that shaped a nation, inspired countless stories, yet vanished without a trace. Its true fate continues to elude even the most rigorous academic inquiry. The mystery persists, inviting us all to contemplate its meaning. What are your thoughts on this enduring puzzle? The Ark's disappearance remains one of history's most compelling unsolved mysteries, leaving us with a tapestry of textual silences, apocryphal claims, and steadfast traditions. Which of these hypotheses do you find most persuasive, and why? Do you possess other historical or textual insights that shed light on this profound enigma? We invite you to share your thoughts and theories in the comments section below, fostering a critical and respectful discussion. Your engagement helps us collectively unravel these ancient puzzles. The Ark's fate remains veiled, but it is just one thread in the vast, intricate tapestry of biblical mysteries. If the disappearance of a central artifact captivates your intellect, you might find yourself drawn to another profound enigma, the elusive 10 lost tribes of Israel. Their story, much like the Ark's, challenges our understanding of history, textual provenance, and the very construction of identity. Join us on Biblical Mysteries as we continue to dissect the narratives that have shaped civilizations, seeking clarity amidst the contradictions. The journey of critical inquiry, after all, is endless. After all the textual silences and conflicting claims about the Ark's disappearance, which single theory do you find most compelling? Tell me in the comments below. I read and reply to every single one. But the Ark's mystery is just one thread. Next, we reveal a rivalry that shaped early Christianity. Subscribe and turn on notifications to never miss the truth. Like this video and share it before the truth is lost.